What's going down? Welcome to CannaPostDaily. We are a laid-back cannabis talk show where we take a fun approach to cannabis, business, health, and lifestyles. Where we talk all things cannabis. I am your host, Milehighfloatins, always smoking, never choking, but continuously toking. Go tune in to me on, YouTube if you want to get your daily dose of my high. But anyways, let's get back to this. We're here for CannaPostDaily. This is going to be episode 4, I believe, actually. So this is month solid. It's our first official month. We release every Friday, but we do make daily posts 6 days a week. So Monday through Saturday, we do post a post on Facebook and Instagram and Podbeam, and we do an actual podcast sit down situation and have a conversation with you guys every Friday. So stay tuned. Every Friday is that good talk. But anyways, man, let's just jump into this. I kind of wanted to just go over what was kind of posted this week. I feel like there was a lot of really good information, a lot of cool, interesting things that were talked about this week. And one of those, I'm going to just kind of start at the beginning of the week because I made a post that was called Levels of THC Can't Be Determined Post-Mortem Research Finds. And basically what that means is a lot of the, not even a lot, that whole like death report situation that kind of like tells you how many fatalities came because of this and came because of that so basically the whole section about cannabis could technically be completely wrong. And basically the reason for that is research finds that the body in a decomposing state starts to release, obviously we know that it releases all sorts of gases and blah blah blah, but THC is actually one of those chemicals that actually is released mainly out of the organs that had high levels of THC, so such as your lungs, your liver. They're gonna expel those chemicals. Basically, it's gonna expel the THC that it had. And when someone's coming and taking your blood test to kind of see what was going on in your blood and determine a cause of death or a reason for why the situation happened, you're gonna show that you were off the charts high, not just high. Maybe you might have been sober, but your tests are gonna come back and it's gonna show you that you were higher than a kite, bruh. So basically, they're trying to figure out a way, or that's the new question: is how do you determine a THC level of a person who has passed away, and from not even just traumatic situations, but just any situation, period. How do you get their THC levels accurate? You know what I'm saying? Because the levels can be so dramatically different from your toe all the way up to the your eyeball, that which one's the right number. You know what I'm saying? So that was, I feel like, a very interesting thought that I was just like, man, like that's crazy to think that that all the deaths that were supposedly because of THC could technically be wrong. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not all of them, but a good handful for sure. So moving on. I just thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, this one is actually about my home state, bro. Oh my God! Not only are we, this great land of marijuana. But we're trying to make ourselves even a better land of marijuana. And basically what I mean by that, man, is Colorado is moving forward with plans for delivery options and hospitality lounges, bro. Like, I don't think people understand how big of a situation that is. Not just for Colorado, but for all the states that haven't legalized yet, who are trying to. And even the ones that kind of already doing this, I feel like we could probably show them a thing or two. I know California already has delivery service. I think Nevada does as well. Maybe even Washington or Oregon. I'm not sure which one. I think only one of those ones does. But anyways, a handful of states do have delivery and hospitality lounges, such as Colorado. But here's where I think that we can kind of come in and play a big role in this situation, is because Colorado, as we all know, is very good. I won't say the best, but we have definitely shown that we're a lot better at setting up industries and writing regulations and all that good stuff for the industry, that I feel like with our people who've been doing it and been doing it on a really nice regulated level for a long time will have like really good ideas on how to kind of like roll the delivery phase into the whole situation. And basically, I like what's being proposed at this point is that the dispensaries themselves will be able to deliver. They'll be able to have some sort of either a contracted situation or themselves hire their own employee to do so. They'll be able to deliver weed. It's going to be one time a day that you can have it done though. How they're going to track that, I'm not really sure. It might be kind of how it is now, where it's like you can only call a dispensary once a day, but you can go to multiple dispensaries. Thinking that's probably they were kind of keep that, so it's like you can only call one dispensary. That dispensary can only make a delivery to you once before you have to maybe go to someone else. Not really sure. That's kind of still up in there, but I'm assuming that's how they're gonna do it. And the part of it that is going to be interesting is going to be the third party situation, because there's going to be third party entrepreneurs who are going to want to just be a delivery service. And I don't think that that's too far fetched, because they've already talked about it. It actually they said in the article that by 2020 is when the licensing for the dispensaries will be available for them to make deliveries, and by 2021 is when the third party situations or third party companies or people who wanted to make just be a delivery service for dispensaries and customer. I think it's 2021, I believe, is when I was reading that they'll be able to do that and get that licensing for that. Now to the hospitality, and that's why I think that with us being able to hold on before we get into hospitality, with us being able to, I feel like, have a really nice rollout of this delivery situation. I think it will set up a lot of other industries that are already established and up and coming to really take note and model themselves, or at least that part of their industry, off of us, because we all know Colorado is definitely like a big brother to the regulation game as far as like being a legal industry for cannabis. Yes, there's other states that have been doing the whole cannabis thing longer, such as Oregon, California, whatever, but I would beg to argue that our industry is a little bit more understandable, straight cut forward, just a better example to use when trying to create these other industries. Just throwing it out there, I feel like we have a little less chaos, and we've ironed out a lot of our kinks and a lot of our wrinkles out of our industry. So I think that we're that big brother situation now, where we're here to guide and to give a book, a blueprint. There you go. That's the word I was looking for. A blueprint to the rest of the states. If they use it and how they use it is up to them, but I think that we do definitely lay out a really great blueprint. So yeah, I think people would definitely take Colorado's delivery blueprint and use it. And now with the hospitality lounges, so we know Colorado has smoking lounges. There's not a whole lot. There's maybe 5 in total. California has a few. Definitely, I want to say Michigan has definitely opened up a couple. And I'll say Oregon. Basically, all the major markets pretty much have some sort of like smoking lounge situation already kind of in place, whether it be a private like a private invite lounge or membership type lounge or whatever. Most of the major industries do have that already, because obviously there's a need for, like, when tourists come in. I mean, I wouldn't say necessarily the lounges are necessarily targeting their residents, but it's nice to have the option. What if you don't want to smoke at home all the time? What if you want to go out and meet new stoner friends? It's cool to have those options, but most importantly, it's for the tourists who have no residence, have no permanent, address that they can go and be like, this is where I stay and I can smoke legally. Like, they don't have that. It's illegal to smoke in your car. It's illegal to smoke in most hotel rooms without them, kicking you out or, adding some fee or something. Yes, there are a lot of hotels that are starting to, turn a blind eye to it, because they know it's inevitable. People are going to do it. So it's easier to just kind of like, work with people than trying to work against them. keep business up. But yeah, so basically what this new Colorado hospitality lounge situation will look like is not just these third party, smoke lounges around Denver or whatever, wherever you might be, but in the physical dispensaries that you actually choose to go shop at, they can now, not until 2020, I believe, they'll be able to get a license to dedicate an area of their store or of their building or whatever to uh, basically public consumption that is considered a hospitality lounge. I mean, that's the best way to put it. Like, hospitality lounge, I feel like was the best wording, period, for that whole situation. And it's going to be super cool, man. Like, to give people a safe place to smoke and to make it not so difficult for them to smoke. I mean, you're going to increase revenues, I feel like, especially the shops that do really well at maybe creating a really cool space for people to come to and want, they'll get repeat customers just out of that. But I feel like it just opens up a lot of doors and opportunities for dispensaries to really capitalize on not only the experience that they give and offer to the customers, but to give, take away that whole burden on the tourist of where can I smoke this at? Where can I go? Take the burden off the bud tender of having to kind of go around the question and kind of answer it without answering it so they don't get in trouble. That is beautiful to me, especially knowing what it was to not only bud tend but to having to listen to conversations from my bud tenders when I was running stores and stuff to make sure that they weren't saying things illegally, giving false information that we can't really technically give. So I feel like this is going to take a lot of that, out of the situation. It's a lot of the guesswork of where do I use it now? Fantastic, if you ask me. I think that's a positive step. That's a positive jump, 10 steps in the right direction. You know what I'm saying? It's great. I don't really have anything else to say about that. I really had to just let y'all know I'm excited about it because I think it's a really good step in the right direction as far as legalization on a state level. I think it does definitely help in. It's gonna once all this stuff rolls out and everything, and you really start to see the increased revenues and all the extra jobs that these situations will create. I think it really will just definitely help kind of solidify the conversation that we've always had. And is the cannabis industry good or bad? And it's good, man. It's giving jobs. It's helping people. Bruh, y'all know what's good. Y'all know it's good. But now we're going to jump to a whole nother state. We got Illinois, man. Congratulations to you guys up in Illinois. I know that there's a lot of people that are excited about this. And you guys have become the 11th state to legalize. But you guys did it on a different level, though. You guys legalized on a different level. So all 10 states before Illinois, they all legalized on a signature level. They went, did the whole signatures and blah 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 and forced the government's hand. Illinois' government just took it one step ahead and was we'll take that whole signature part out of it. We won't even make y'all do that. We'll pass it on on our own, basically. Which I think was super 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 dope. I was sitting there reading it oh, bro, we're definitely heading in the right direction. For anybody who doesn't believe that, that should be a testimony that we're heading in the right direction. When you have full states taking it into their own hands to make it happen, that's beautiful, bro. And there's nothing else to really be said about that. It's beautiful. The House bill or whatever is called 1438, House Bill 1438. So if you want to look it up and kind of just learn more about it, get a little bit more details as far as all the mumbo jumbo gray area nonsense that most states write in their bills, that go read it. You know what I'm saying? Have at it. It's going to be a good time. But to kind of just give you a brief understanding of what it is, because most people don't really care about all the little small details. They want to know, how much can I have legally? How much can I carry on my persons? And the question, or the answer to that question is, if you're a resident, 1 ounce, a 30-day supply. At least that's what they say. 30-day supply is 1 ounce. But I think they're actually being a little lenient in Illinois. And instead of a 28-gram ounce, I believe they're letting you get away with a 30-gram ounce. And then if you're a tourist, so a visitor, someone who's just hanging out for a couple days, you can legally have up to a half ounce. But again, they're being a little lenient. Instead of 14 grams, 15 grams. So yeah, man. We lit. Illinois, congratulations to you guys, man. Keep moving, bro. Keep building and doing what you got to do. They're expected to bring in like $500 million annually via like the taxes and all that nonsense. So much needed money. Sure, it's gonna go a long way. Hopefully they do the right things with it. Now, another state. Let's jump around now. We're in Missouri, bro. And Missouri, as of, I want to say it was in November of last year. November 2018 is when Missouri officially like put their foot down and was like, all right, we're legal, we're doing it, you know what I mean? But it's taken them a while to figure out how to get it like the ball rolling, if you will. They've done a lot of conversation having. A lot of conversations have been had. My bad, I'm playing with this cup. Sit that down. All right. But a lot of conversations have been had, you know, whether it be with entrepreneurs who are trying to get involved, who are already involved in other industries or other states, you know, other policymakers, you know, everybody and anybody they've pretty much been having conversations with so that they can figure out how to do this correctly, I guess, is what you would call it. So as of the other day, though, they finally kind of they're giving more information, basically, is what I'm trying to say. They're giving more information to the patients, the businessmen, you know, the investors, all that good nonsense. They're finally starting to kind of roll out some of this information. So if you're trying to be a patient and legally consume and purchase marijuana in Missouri, one, you gotta wait till 2020 for any of the dispensaries to even be open. And then really, I'd say more like 2021. Only because, I mean, there might be a couple dispensaries that will like rush the process and try to just beat everyone to the punch. But for the most part, I think a lot of people have realized like trying to rush the process isn't the best way. So I'm thinking that you're gonna have, like, as licenses get issued and you can actually start to, you know, legally grow, sell, manufacture, all that nonsense. About I don't know, it's maybe like a 6-month period after that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking close to probably end of 2020, beginning of 2021 is when Missouri will probably see like their first facilities kind of opening, and, you know, you'll see like the big wave of weed and the impact that it will have on Missouri. But yeah, so if you want to get your card, though, like I was saying, you can go to the state website, the Missouri State, you know, website, and literally they should have like a marijuana tab, and you can apply. I want to say you could pre-fill out the applications for to be a patient. It's a $25 fee, but they do have a lot of stipulations and like criteria that you have to meet as a patient to be able to qualify. So definitely look it up before you just start going and throwing $25 around like, hey, I got it, you know. I mean, it's only $25, but, you know, if you can't get one because of the criteria, you don't reach, you know, the criteria or whatever to even have one, don't waste your money. But if you do, there you go, man. $25, super cheap for a card, if you ask me. I want to say that's a whole lot cheaper than the one in Colorado. So, like, well, not a whole lot, you know, two times cheaper. So I want to say it's like $70 or $80 to get one here. And unless you're getting like extended plant counts, which then that will raise the money. So yeah, man, if you're trying to be patient, that's for you. If you're trying to be on the other side of things and you want to, this article hasn't come out, by the way. I'll just go ahead and tell you all the information because it drops tomorrow, or on tomorrow. So if you want to be a seller, grower, edible manufacturer, you're gonna have a few hurdles that you're gonna have to kind of to deal with, man, and that just comes with the territory, to be honest with you. And hold on one second, I have these totals down so I can kind of give you guys the breakdown on that. I want to say it's because you have a non-refundable payment that you're gonna have to make, and then you're gonna have an annually payment that you're gonna have to make to keep these licenses. And basically what that looks like, yeah, here we go. So what that looks like is if you're going to be a cultivation, so you want to grow, it's going to be a $10,000 non-refundable application fee. So that's what you'll pay at the time you submit your application, 10 grand, which actually is not that bad. I want to say that's close to what Colorado's was too as well. And then it's 25K annually to keep the license. If you're trying to be a dispensary, it's $6,000 to apply. So that's what you pay at the time of application submission is 6 grand, and it's $10,000 annually to keep the license. If you're trying to be a medical cannabis infused manufacturer, so edible company, I was using their all technical term, edible company. If you're trying to manufacture edibles, it's again 6 grand at the time of application, 6 grand application fee, and $10,000 annually. So $10,000 a year to keep the license. And some important dates too, because you guys gotta have to be on your P's and Q's and dot every I really good. August 3rd of 2019 is when the MDHSS, which is the medical marijuana thing or whatever that control, basically like our MED, that's their MED. August 3rd, 2019 is when they will actually begin accepting them. You can definitely go pre-fill out applications because there have been over 400 already submitted, I believe, in Missouri alone. But they actually start accepting them for real on the 3rd. You have to have it in by August 17th. If you don't meet that deadline, you probably won't be getting a license, especially since there's already 400 plus licenses or applications for licenses already submitted and paid. Like, that's the thing. Like, not only is it like 400 plus applications submitted already or pre-filled out, there's already like $3 million in application fees already paid. So people are already like, they're ready, they're on the ball. So if you're in that, market of investment or investing or trying to own or whatever, obtaining licenses for dispensary, growing, manufacturing edibles in Missouri, do it, man. Like, just get on the ball. You don't have a whole lot of time left. And so yeah, August 17th is when they will stop accepting applications for any of these things. And December 31st of 2019, so the very last day of the year, is when the MDHSS and contracted partners will review and score all the applications. So basically there's going to be a numbered system, a numbering system, a scoring system, if you will, that they're going to use to basically grade all of the applications. And based on your grade will determine on if you get a license, because it's definitely a limited amount of licenses that they're going to be giving out. There's only I think 100 and just under 200 licenses for dispensaries, and basically that number came out. It was like 194 or 196 or something, but it's like 24, 25. I think it's 24 dispensary licenses will be issued per little like county, basically. I want to say like 80 or 90 licenses for growing, I think is what it was, and then like around the same amount of number for manufacturers of edibles and stuff. So you definitely just need to have everything ready to go, or you'll find yourself kind of just sitting on your thumb, bro. And I'm not saying that to hurt anyone's feelings, but the reality is this industry is like a freight train right now. It's moving. People see the potential. People are trying to get in, and if you're trying to get in, you need to be on top of it, So yeah, that's kind of what's going on with that. Missouri is definitely doing their thing. You know what I mean? One of the newer states to legalize, one of the newer states to take that leap of faith into legalization, at least in a state level. Still working on that federal level. And with that being said, actually, that's a great segue, bro. God, I gotta give myself a pat on the back for that segue. We got Kristen Gillibrand. She is a presidential hopeful. As of now, she's a senator in New York, I believe, or like the Delaware, New York area. Forgive me, not super huge into politics, but I do try to keep up on my cannabis politics news, you know what I'm saying? But Kristen Gillibrand, she's a presidential hopeful, and the other day she dropped a list, I believe it was last Wednesday or something like that, about a week ago anyways. She dropped a list of points that she feels are important to tackle that pertain to the legalization of cannabis. And she's talking a national level. She's not talking like individually states. She's talking, I want to decriminalize cannabis on a federal level, which will be a huge, huge victory for cannabis on the war on drugs. I'm just saying. Speaking of the war on drugs, that was actually another one of the points she made, actually, is she feels that a lot of the money, a lot of the taxes that are coming out of the cannabis industry should be going back into, fixing. Granted, you can't take back what's already been done, but at least trying to help fix what the war on drugs has caused. You know what I'm saying? All the she even went as deep as to like bring race into it. Like, I was like blown away reading this article. I was like, wow. Like we all know the war on drugs was kind of like, it was a plan to target certain areas, certain demographics. It's been proven that it doesn't help certain people in, certain areas, but she wants to change that. She's like, the money that's coming out of it tax-wise should go into, reversing the effects of the war on drugs, on reversing the outcome of what's happened so far in the war on drugs and making it a more positive one. And basically, it was hardcore her basically just like, yo, we're going to legalize it. If I get, the position of president, I'm going to legalize it. And I was just like, man, here's a direct quote from her actually. What is she? Hold up. She claims she will immediately, here's the direct quote, immediately deschedule marijuana as a controlled substance. Bruh, that's crazy. And I know a lot of the Democratic candidates are kind of taking this cannabis approach because they would be kind of crazy not to. But I feel like this is the first candidate that's kind of given us more than just, hey, I'm going to decriminalize it. Because, yes, she says that, but, man, if you go and read all the points, and if you want to find the points, go to my Instagram, CannaPostDaily, go to Podbeam, find it there. You can go to our YouTube, our YouTube at CannaPostDaily, or Facebook to find it. But if you want to find the actual article, though, yeah, go to our Podbeam, Instagram, Facebook, and you can kind of see the exact list of priorities she's basically gonna have. I'll read off a few of them to you guys. So, establish a national process to make marijuana production and consumption clean, safe, and sustainable. Fantastic. Expunge all non-violent marijuana convictions. Another one. Beautiful. You know what I'm saying? A lot of states have already taken that action and already doing that on a state level, but to hear that we're going to do that on a federal level, fantastic. I think that's great. Invest in research for medical applications and require coverage for medical marijuana in all health insurance plans, including Medicare, Medicaid, and the VA. Tell me that doesn't sound beautiful. Tell me, bruh, people should not be scrutinized for using an alternative medicine. You know what I'm saying? I do understand there is like a real slippery slope there, a real fine line of using it for your own personal recreational, reasons. But man, on the same note, there's a real fine line of why are you messing with people who are just choosing to use an alternative medicine? And that's the reality of it, to get more research done and to be able to actually say that veterans and people with chronic illnesses and people who have real problems will be able to go to something other than an opiate or, just some prescribed pill that the doctor, has some sort of investment in. So that's great, man. I think that's fantastic. I think that's probably one of my favorite ones that she had mentioned on here. But moving forward, legalize and tax recreational marijuana nationwide and direct revenue towards the programs that help repair the damage done by the war on drugs. Again, I mentioned that already, a beautiful one. Normalize cannabis businesses, tax treatment, and allow access to the banking system. And that's a huge one right there. All right, I don't think you people understand how important that is. All right? Cannabis is the highest taxed product in the world at this point, pretty much. And that's not fair. It's not fair to not only the business owners who struggle to stay afloat, struggle to pay their bills, struggle to pay their employees, but it's unfair to the employees who aren't getting paid fair wages because the companies just physically can't, bro. Like, this right here, this not only says to me that you're going to, you know, give more opportunity for people to have fair wages and be able to like live their lives, but you're going to give like so much like hope back to the industry, bro. Like, I lost hope in the industry because of that. You know, when I got to a certain level, certain positions where you get to see finances and you start to understand what is going on and where this money's coming and where it's going, you start to realize that there's not a lot of room for you to make any more than what you were probably making. And that's not fair, man. Like, I couldn't live. Like, when I was working in the industry, I personally had a hard time supporting my family on my salary. And I don't feel like that was fair, especially when I was working 60 to 80 hours a week. It's not fair, man. Even having two incomes into my household still wasn't fair. And for me to go and express these feelings and ask for, you know, more compensation just wasn't feasible because I knew where the finances were. I knew where the money was going. I knew where it was coming. I knew how it was being spent, and there just wasn't physically anything left, bro. And that shit, it devastated me, you know? So that is dope because I think that's gonna, like, you're gonna get more out of people because you'll be able to pay them more. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have more happy customers and employees because everyone's happy, bro. I'm just saying. I really love that. I think that's fantastic. And then on top of that, to allow these businesses to be able to use the banking system the way that it was intended to is great because I know personally, being a former, you know, industry employee, I had a hard time opening bank accounts when this first started. I had a hard time, you know, putting my money in the bank when it first started. I got paid under the table the first like 3-4 years of my cannabis career because the banks wouldn't touch our money. I had to be paid in cash at that. You know what I'm saying? Like under the table cash, like it's crazy. And didn't have like a real W-2 until like maybe the first 2 years in or whatever. Like it was weird, like, cause you just like, no one wanted to help touch that money. Like no one wanted to be involved with it. So to like be in a situation now, like when I left the industry, you know, me as a lower level employee was able to have bank accounts and was able to do what I need to do and operate as a normal human being. But seeing that I was able to get up to the positions where I was almost, you know, that guy, dealing with the vice presidents and CEOs and, you know, owners and stuff, you start to hear and see the frustrations that they have trying to deal with the bank because they got to be clever. They have to find ways to like move around certain things and like, you know what I'm saying, almost hide their whereabouts in business and like it's not cool. It almost still creates this like level of sketchness that honestly someone who's got millions of dollars invested in a company shouldn't feel. You know, if I've got millions of dollars in a situation, I just don't want that situation to feel sketch. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, they could, man. Like being an owner, like you went through more scrutiny than anybody because the banks really didn't want to mess with you because of the laws that, like, what if something happened? What if you got in trouble and you got raided or something and the feds came in and got you? You can't just go get a job is basically what they'd say. Like, you can't just, you know, go and start, you know, find a different way to make money and blah, blah, because you're going to be investigated and blah, blah, and, you know, this, that, and the third, and all your assets will be frozen, and, you know, you're not going to be able to live your life and be a human and be a contributing member of society and blah, 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 you know, like, that's crazy to me. So that right there, beautiful, because it's going to take away a lot of sketchy, you know, feelings that the big wigs kind of have when they're dealing with this stuff, man. Moving forward, we have create equality for small business investments in the cannabis industry, lifting up communities that have been most hurt by marijuana laws, which is again kind of pertaining back to some the whole putting the money where it needs to be, you know, helping rebuild the communities that have been destroyed by the war on drugs, and, you know, helping rebuild the demographics that have been destroyed by the war on drugs. I'm just saying that's fantastic thing to do, man. We got the expunge. We saw that already. We already know what that's gonna do. That's gonna help give people their lives back. You know what I mean? People who were just regular people who like to smoke a little bit of the ganja and lost their lives because of it, man. This is gonna give them an opportunity to restart, which is fantastic. Again, I'm all about this fantastic stuff today, bro. But next one, we got normalize cannabis businesses, tax treatment, and allow access to the banking system. Oh, we already said that one. Actually, no, that was actually, they reiterated that one again, is kind of what it was. They just kind of reworded it. So if you didn't understand it from the first time they kind of made that point, they wanted to make it a point again, a little bit more plain and simple. And yeah, create equality for small business investments in the cannabis industry, lifting a community. I already said that. We already had that one. They actually, I think I just reposted that one twice. But anyways, that's kind of what was going down with that. And yeah, man, what do y'all think about this Kristen Gillibrand? I haven't really heard anything of her until this. Like I said, I'm not super into politics by any means. I won't even sit here and play and act like I'm into politics. But I do try to read up enough on things that interest me to kind of be aware of what's going on. And seeing that cannabis is like my thing, when I saw this article, it definitely caught a lot of interest. It definitely, made me wonder, who is she? Is she really, about what she says? And yeah, man, y'all let me know. What do you think? Do you think that what she has listed out as priorities are really good priorities? Are those good things to kind of attack first? Is that a good plan of action? If so, explain to me why. Maybe, like, why do you feel that way? Why do you think that these are good priorities? And if not, if you're on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, why? Why? For me personally, I think these are all really, really good points to prioritize as like first, plans of attack into the whole federal legalization of cannabis. Like after you decriminalize it, to have like a plan of action that is like kind of directly solving problems, dealing with the tax problem, dealing with where this money's gonna go, dealing with how people are treated within the industry. Like those are important things that I think are stepping stones and like the foundation of making the federal legalization better than any of the state legalizations. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, it has to, like, if the feds can get there, together, then I think all the states will fall in line and we'll start to have a lot more uniformity and a lot more working together through all the states. You know what I'm saying? And we'll be able to have a little bit more clarity when we move across the whole nation and not just every state having to learn it, all these different laws and whatnot. Like, we'll have a lot more uniform regulations and uniform industries and just a lot more familiar situations when we go to other states. Like, I think that's the key, especially for like product control or quality control of products, and helping the expansion of companies that are doing it right. Like, they shouldn't have to jeopardize quality control or put their business at a risk dealing with some unknown person in another state because that person can get a license and they couldn't. Like, all these little things. Like, it's a foundation, bro. It's stepping stones, and it's right steps in the right direction, if you ask me. So yeah, man, I love you guys. There is no me. I gotta give a shout out. I know you guys see this nice beautiful sign lit up over here, the Clear. Want to appreciate you, everybody at the Clear, Clear CBD, bonsai cultivation, everybody who's pretty much behind the works of this cannabis podcast, CannaPost Daily. It's your cannabis news given to you weekly, even though we post on a daily. We give you the podcast weekly. We give you posts daily, at least 6 days a week. You know what I'm saying? You'll get 6 posts a week. You get a podcast a week. And Sunday, we take off. It's Get High Day. Everybody deserves a day off. Don't burn yourself out. But yeah, man, if there's anything else that you guys want to talk about, if you have any questions, you want us to do some product reviews, you want to see some cool new products on the show, you want to get your product on the show for your boy to, maybe critique and check out, hit me up, CannaPostDaily@gmail.com. You can DM us at Facebook or YouTube. Yeah, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, those three, CannaPost Daily on all three of those platforms. Really just look up at CannaPost Daily and follow us on any and everything that we do, bro. I'm just saying, follow us. And yeah, I'll just see you guys later. Next podcast will be next week, and I'm actually bringing in a friend of mine from the industry who went from being if you ask me, world class bud tender because he was one of my employees, really good dude. But he went from being like a world class bud tender to really actually hold up. Went from streamer bud tender streamer. You know what I'm saying? Because he used to play video games and do tournaments and win and all that good stuff. Left it, came to the cannabis industry, learned a whole bunch of stuff. Basically, mastered his weed knowledge. Granted, it's new stuff every day. Just go along with it. I'm having fun. It's a fun approach to it. But anyways, he's a streamer. He's a professional Twitch player. He's sponsored by multiple companies, some of which are in the cannabis industry. He has a dispensary sponsorship, and I do believe there's one other cannabis company that he is sponsored with. But just stay tuned for that, man. We're going to get into all of them details, all that good nonsense, figure out how he did it, figure out what he does now, what his intentions are, how he uses his platform to not only better himself and his own situation, but to help these companies that sponsor him, Me being an influencer, I know all too well that influencers are the way to market right now for the industry, for the cannabis industry, just being that they can't market on regular, or let's say more traditional platforms. They can't really use radio too much if the few radio stations that do deal with them cost a lot of money and there's very limited space. TV's pretty much off limits. Most advertisements on, different websites is pretty much kind of like, not really working either unless it's like a cannabis, website directly, So they got to find ways to be outside the box, and influencers right now are it, man. Whether you play games, do music, whatever. Influencers are it, man. So, yeah, I love you guys. There is no me without you. Always remember that. And, yeah, we'll see you guys later, man. It's your boy, Milehighfloatins, tuning in and out with CannaPost Daily.